In a sense, like freehand tattooing, there's two different styles. You have freehand where you're actually mimicking something that you're looking at, and you're mimicking it to the point where you're trying to emulate life. You know, it's like a still life. And then there's freehand, which is also can be done in freestyle. And freestyle is, I think, where the artist takes their own interpretation of life itself and portrays it the way they see it. I tend to lean towards freehand, freestyle. I can do both, and I enjoy both, but for me, the one that I feel the most connected to is the freestyle, freehand work. And that's where I'm just basically interpreting whatever it is that I see, or whatever it is that I have with my collector, what they would like me to see in their dreams, and portray that. And then I'll just go from there. I'll immediately, with a small meeting with them, and we have a brief conversation, or sometimes a long conversation, and then I'll get a dream immediately within that moment, and I'll draw it onto them. When I go about the beginning process of how I move into my freehand work, this particular one I'm working on now, it starts with just that interaction, the first interaction with the collector I'm working with, and them telling me what they feel about the owl. And he had wanted an owl that was on the darker side with horns. And as we were sitting together, going over the process of what we wanted to achieve, I saw the image. And from there, I basically went in, and with his confidence and the trust that he had given me, went in and just started creating the line of motion to move along with the contour of the body, and then just started sculpting out my owl. And with the owl, I'll do the line of motion, the structure of it, and start building from how I envision it. Sometimes it's hard to always describe the process of my take, because freestyle is so much different than the freehand aspect, because if someone's using freehand mimicry, they're directly looking at something. So this is completely based upon movement. I am really following along with where do I see the wing being compatible with his body? Where am I seeing the body of the owl being compatible with the movement of the base of his leg? I think that freehand tattooing was introduced into my life where I had always just been a freestyle artist. You know, I had these particular rules in my life when I was young. I don't know if it was the cliche concept of not copying things, or not using light tables, or not using little smudge sticks, but I had these little particular rules I followed when I was young. It's like my little black book of rules of what it meant to be an artist. And for me, drawing from the top of my mind was my rule. I wanted to make sure I recreated everything so that it would have a fresh, new feel to it. So everything I did is from my mind, you know. Obviously impacted by life itself and the stories and things that occur in our lives, but they're through my eyes and my dreams. As far as like freehand artists that I really admire, I like to always start back to like describing my introduction into the industry, which is always going to be, I love artists like Paul Booth and Guy Aitchison, two guys that, you know, the first guys where I really saw them doing freehand were those guys, and it was great because it let me know what was possible. And then after that, you know, other artists like Josh Duffy and Carl Grace, Luke Palin. And then many of the Japanese artists, you know, they do these amazing bodysuits. And I don't know if you can see in my work the influence, but there is a lot of Asian-based influences from these bodysuits that I've seen in my career that have influenced my movement, you know, and the use of negative space and large palettes of tones that just blast through that are just like midtones or softs. And I love that use of movement that the Japanese artists do. It's all throughout all their work, very intricate at the same time. So those were huge influences to me. But there's so many new artists always coming out. It's hard to keep up. With freehanding over all these years, I've just learned that I'm very in love with trying to manifest things that don't exist. If I can remove myself from the realm of where we see day-to-day imagery and move away from the norm and go further into the darkness and try to illuminate something that hasn't ever been seen, I absolutely love that. And I think that's where it starts for me. It's just the love of trying to create something. And you hope you just create something that hasn't been seen. And that's what I'm trying to do. As far as the style and work that I do as a freehand artist, it's always about the bond and the relationship you have with the person. And I do a lot of owls, and there are a lot of people who like owls out there. So if you're out there and you want an owl, and you want to come up with a dream where we can unite together and manifest something together, I'm right here.